What's happening, family? Today I just wanted to cover some very important information. You know what I'm saying? Moving forward, the spring equinox, March 20th. It's on its way. All right, and this is a very powerful time of year. It's often looked over, and I just wanted to make this video because I gotta really put the information out there on how to utilize the energy of the spring equinox, how it relates to the power of your magic, how it relates to the power of building your relationships, everything, your business. This is a powerful time of year. And I just want to give y'all the tools and the information needed so that y'all can take full advantage of this time of year and bring into fruition the things that you want to make happen. All right. So let's start right here, because at the end of the day, the goal is to become the master magician. All right. So if you don't know what the master magician is, the master magician is the one who's in control of their destiny. You know what I'm saying? They have control and mastery over their direction. No matter what life throws at them, they can get back on track. That's the master magician, all right? So let's start with the definitions. The definition of spring, all right? To move or jump suddenly or rapidly upward or forward, originate or arise from. The season after winter and before summer, in which vegetation begins to appear. In the northern hemisphere from March to May, and in the southern hemisphere from September to November. That's very important right there, man. And it's important because we understand that spring is the time before summer and after winter. All right, everybody can see that. But what about the other part? Right? Listen, and this is what gives you the information on what this time actually means for your growth, what this time actually means for your spiritual practice. All right? Let's look at it. To move or jump suddenly or rapidly upward or forward. To spring forward, to spring upward. This is a time for growth. Okay, listen to the definition. All right. Originate or arise from. Originate or arise from. This is the time for new ideas. This is the time for you to take new concepts and grow it from this point, the spring equinox. You see what I'm saying? Now, let's look at the definition of equinox. All right. The time or date twice each year at which the sun crosses the celestial equator, when day and night are of approximately equal length. That's the definition of equinox. So it's a very powerful time because it's also a time for what? Balance. The sun, the day and the night are about equal. See what I'm saying? It's about equal during this time. So that's important to understand, because it also gives you another inclination to what the meaning of this is. Balance and springing ahead, originating from new ideas, fresh ideas, creativity, right? This is the time for all of those things. Let's look at the significance of the spring equinox, all right? Rebirth and growth, all right? So we talked about the growth. To originate or arise from. That's growth, okay? And the rebirth. Remember, everything died in the winter. That's what the winter solstice is about, allowing things to die. Relationships that don't serve you. Habits that don't serve you, characteristics that don't serve you. You let that go in the winter. Okay, that's what the winter solstice is for. It is the arrival of spring now, right? The earth is coming alive again. So once again, that rebirth come. That rebirth coming. Y'all already know we hear this rebirth story coming alive. And see, other people know this science, but the average person doesn't. The powers that be know the science, but the average person doesn't. So let's get into it. It represents awakening as animals are coming out of hibernation and flowers are blooming, right? Awakening. So this is also a great time to brush up on your studies. This is also a great time to intake new information, to learn new concepts, to learn new ideas, to study different theologies, to study different strategies on making your plans come true. This is the time to do it. All right? The universe is riding with you. Don't fight the universe. Don't fight nature. Ride with nature, and nature will take care of you. If you ride with nature, nature will take care of you. This is a fact. All right? The dark months are now over, and we're moving into the warmth of the light. The sun will continue to grow until the summer solstice. The dark months are over. Now we're moving into the light. All right? And this is important to understand because it speaks to growth again. And the sun is continuing to lengthen. The sunlight in the day is continuing to lengthen. The days are getting longer, right? And so that also speaks to your growth. Spiritually, financially, right? It all ties together. As everything around you is growing, you should be growing too. Yes, this is the time. You got to ride with nature. Don't fight nature because you will never win that fight. When you fight nature, you fight yourself, you fight the universe, you fight other forces. You're not going to win that. So let's look at the ancient calendar significance of the spring equinox. The Babylonian calendar began with the first new moon after the March equinox, the day after the Sumerian goddess Inanna's return from the underworld, later known as Ishtar. So the Babylonian calendar is recognized. The Persian calendar begins each year at the northward equinox, observationally determined at Tehran. Okay. The Indian national calendar starts the year on the day next to the vernal equinox on March 22nd or 21st in leap years. So the vernal equinox, that's another name for this time period that we're calling the spring equinox because we're in the northern hemisphere. So understand that this is something that's been recognized by ancient societies for a long time because ancient societies understood that we ride with the tide of nature. We ride with the tide. The animals are so successful because they're riding with the tide of nature. They're moving with the pendulum swing. Remember, life is a pendulum. This is what Shango teaches us. Life is a pendulum. It's a rhythm, okay? And if you ride with that rhythm, things will happen faster and more effectively. If you go against that pendulum, now you're asking for hardship. And when we're doing these works, there's a time to ride with the pendulum and a time that you're not riding with the pendulum. But if you ride with the pendulum strong enough, we get the results that we get. So let's look at the ancient celebrations. The Jewish Passover usually falls on the first full moon after the northern hemisphere vernal equinox. So the Jewish Passover, right? This is very significant. The Christian churches calculate Easter as the first Sunday after the first full moon or after the March equinox. Think about this. So the church know the science. All these powers that be know the science, but the average citizen. So think about this. Why does the government just give you back all the tax returns coming in the spring? Because they understand that The average person doesn't know what to do with this energy, this influx of energy. So they just know that people are going to be out. And when people are out full with the springtime energy, they're going to spend money. They're going to patronize businesses. Businesses are going to grow. They're going to stack their deck before the fall and the winter come when things start to die. Okay? This is what this is about. Very important to understand. In many Arab countries, Mother's Day is celebrated on the northward equinox. Here come that feminine energy associated with spring again. When we think of spring, we're going to start to think about Aphrodite. We're going to start to think about Oshun. We're going to start to think about Isis. We're going to start to think about these strong feminine deities in spring because that feminine creative energy is coming through. That feminine growth energy is coming through. So we start to have these deities come to mind when we're talking about spring equinox. It's very powerful. Neo-pagans observe the March equinox as a cardinal point on the wheel of the year. So neo-pagans, the New Age pagans, they also are acknowledging it based on the old world pagans of Norse and Germanic pagans. So in Norse paganism, a Disabla was celebrated on the vernal equinox. So this is people all over, man, that's acknowledging this time period, and they're taking advantage of it. They're growing with it, all right? Understand what I'm telling you. The spiritual meaning. Spring equinox energy is encouraging you to be reborn. There's rebirth in the spring, there's rebirth in the spring. It's encouraging you to be reborn. The spring energy will fuel your growth as the days get longer and the suns grow warmer. Like I was saying, as the sun is the day is growing longer and the sun is warm, it feels warmer to you. It's spurring growth. Are you going to ride with the growth or are you going to fight it? It's your choice. It's your choice. But me personally, when I do my works, I like to ride with that. You know what I'm saying? I like to ride with the work. It make my life easier. You know what I'm saying? It make my life way easier. Now watch this. As how it affects you. As winter ends and energy shifts from inward to outward. Remember, the winter solstice was about looking in. Seeing what you need, seeing what you don't need. Kicking things out. Bringing in the mentality that you want to go. Okay? So listen to this. As winter ends and energy shifts from inward to outward, implementing changes required in order to grow and flourish can really disrupt your sense of equilibrium in late winter. Why is that happening? That happens because as the universe is trying to bring things into balance, it has to shake things up. That's why you can start to feel towards the end of the winter out of whack. Because spring is trying to come in. And if you didn't do the necessary work in the wintertime, now everything's going to be in disarray. Because you were supposed to do that yourself. You were supposed to be riding with the tide and keeping that thing balanced as it was getting out of balance. Now the universe got to come kick you in the gear and say, get in balance. And when the universe does that, your life just go like this. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's important to ride with that. Because it's much harder when the universe gotta get the hammer and knock you in the balance. Pop, 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 pop. Now the nail is in there. All right? So with the spring equinox, the earth returns to a place of perfect balance. Day and night are equal, the light and the dark, bringing the return of some much needed balance into your own life. That's if you are a person that's going to ride with the tide. If you're hard-headed, then guess what? It ain't going to happen. Think about this. The reason that the spring equinox is such a crazy period. Let me just read into this next piece. Your spirit is coming alive with hopeful, excited energy. Parts of you are being reborn and coming alive in ways they never have before. Now, this is a crazy statement. The energy that's getting kicked up, a lot of times people don't know how to handle it. So another thing happens when spring comes. More people die too. Homicides go up. Why does homicide increase? Because people don't know what to do with the spring energy, especially in places that's impoverished. So now this excitement, this hopefulness, it come in the form of let's get this money. We don't care how we get the money. Let's get this money. Now you extra motivated. You yiked up. You gonna go get this money. You gonna go hit this lick. You gonna go do this. And guess what? It leads to murders because the energy is chaotic. You don't have a direction on and a set plan on how you're gonna get this money, how you're gonna make this happen. All you know is that you got an itch and a motivation to just do something. It's just boiling up in you. It's a fire. It's coming alive. All right? Very important to understand. Let's talk about how to utilize the energy of the spring equinox. This time of year, your spirit is bright and coming alive with new ideas. Like I said, it's a time for new ideas, man. It's a time for you to start thinking of innovative ways to grow yourself, to grow your company, to push your relationship forward, different stuff. All right? This is the time. Your work this season is to determine which of your winter dreams you want to focus spring's powerful growth energy on. Remember, I told you during the winter solstice, you were supposed to go inward, see the things that you want, kill the things that you don't need, and get ready for the energy of the spring so that you can ride this powerful spring energy and just bust forward. And this is why spring is also associated with you start to think about Ogun. You know what I'm saying? You start to think about Mars energy in the spring. Mars energy come to mind. Move the things out the way. Create opportunities. That's the spring. That's the spring. Approach your daydreams and new ideas with a lighthearted, childlike spirit. If it calls to you, try it. Go for it and have fun. Because the universe is on your side, you don't have to be as serious. Because the universe is already riding with you. You don't got to fight too hard. So ride the wave of what that is and approach it with lightheartedness. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about a child. A child just gets things done because a child already have a light spirit, a light heart. You dig? So they can just make things happen. They can just manifest. They're very powerful. This is the season of illumination. Spring brings clarity. Okay, this is the time to get really clear on what you want to see grow in your life and what you want to harvest. In order to gain that clarity, you need to try out what's calling you. That's some of it right there that we're talking about, man. This is the time that you getting clarity, up your knowledge, up your studies. Get the insight that you need. It's there for you. This is the season. Spring and summer bring powerful growth energy. If you're not clear on where to focus that energy, it can feel chaotic. Remember I said the murder rate go up because they ain't not focusing this energy in the spring. They just know they trying to get money. And it's a burning sensation in their body. They lit. So here we go. Right? All right. So if you don't focus the energy, it can feel chaotic and overwhelming. Your energy gets pulled in many different directions and it burns you out. So you got to hone in. It will burn you out because it's getting pulled this way, that way, this way, that way, this way, that way. Where is it going? You got to focus that energy in a set location and make it happen. All right. So let's talk about the practical uses of the spring equinox. How do we take advantage of it? How do we make this stuff happen? All right. So work with ancestors to bring forth your goals. If you work with ancestors, this is the perfect time for you to really put that manifestative work in. This is the time to do it. Work with those ancestors and bring that in because it's here. All right, this is the time to do it. If you don't work with ancestors, you can utilize the energy from green, orange, and yellow candles. All right, So that would be great to incorporate into your rituals and your manifestation practice. So if you're somebody that you do meditation, light you a green candle with your intentions written on it. Light you an orange candle with your intentions written on it for your creativity. Light you a yellow candle with your intentions written on it to open up the opportunities. Look, I'm giving y'all even too much game right there. All right? But when you're doing your rituals, when you're doing your meditations, light those candles. All right? And you don't just got to do it on March 20th. This is something that can just carry out. You dig? This is something that can carry out through the spring. Light an orange or a green candle in just plain sight. Light it in your kitchen. Light it in your room. Get you a 7-day candle. And get that manifestation state of energy in the air. Ride the tide of the spring. Bring that into fruition. Bring that into existence. Take that out of the spiritual realm and bring it into the physical realm with power. This is the time to do it. All right? Spend time in nature. This is one that's overlooked. Spend time in nature welcoming back the vegetation and animals. This will help to spark your inspiration moving into spring and summer. Go out into nature and welcome back the vegetation. Thank you, tree, for growing leaves again so that we can have oxygen. Thank you, river, for flowing again so that you can take water to the other side of the city. Thank you, squirrels, for coming out again in full-fledged so that you can spread the nuts from the trees all over the ground to make more trees. Like, go out there and be grateful. Show your gratitude to nature. Show your gratitude to the universe. And watch how powerful your manifestative work becomes. Watch how powerful your magic becomes. Because now you're in tune with your environment. You're in tune with your ecology. You're in tune with nature. And that's where you want to be. So like I said, family, that's the spring equinox. Take advantage of this time, man. Take advantage of this time. Bring the things that you need to bring into fruition and ride this out. I want to see y'all become the master magicians in your life. I want to see y'all take control over your life. Take power over your life. Don't let the government, the higher ups, the powers that be, don't let them have all the fun. You can have some fun too. You got control too. You got the same access to the same resources as far as nature that they have. Utilize those resources to level up. Utilize those resources to get yourself to the next level. And that's what I want to leave y'all with. Like and share and subscribe. It's your boy King Brujo. I love y'all 100.